I'm excited to announce that vCluster v0.20 is finally GA. So that means all the new features like the vCluster YAML, unified Helm chart, and others are finally available to be used in production. So previously we'd made videos about how to do this stuff while it was still in beta, but now what we're gonna do is take a look at some of the new features and talk about some of the new stuff that you can do. So let's go ahead and jump right in. All right, so like I said, vCluster version 0.20 is GA. So that means there's a new config format, vCluster.yaml. You can migrate to the vCluster.yaml. There's a unified Helm chart for simplified deployment. KH distro now supports SQLLite and external databases. The default distro changed from K3s to vanilla K8s. And now the default image is also the vCluster Pro image, and Ingress syncing behavior has changed. So let's go ahead and dive right in and see what some of this stuff means. The new config format, vCluster.yaml, so the CLI now validates configurations before creating or upgrading virtual clusters. This is great if you're just trying to make sure that your vCluster YAML is correct when you're trying to create it or upgrade it to make sure you don't get those error messages and you can try to figure out like what's going on. So there's more options in the vCluster YAML, eliminating confusion by a mix of CLI flags, annotations, environment variables, and Helm charts. So there's more options. So there might have been like dash flags or something like that you're using before, but now you can just go ahead and configure it. It's all documented and it's easier to understand. Definitely check out our docs. The link's going to be in the last slide. Go ahead and head over there and look at some of the information about how to get this configured. It's so good. So grouping is based on categories, making it easier to find options. So we've done a complete rework of the documentation to make it easier to read and easier to configure the vCluster.yaml. Put a bunch of stuff under the different things so that it looks more like an API reference or something like that with the configuration options. So migrating to vCluster YAML. So if you're using an older version, then you're using the values file. So what you'll need to do is you can migrate. So there's a command for that. So you can use the vCluster convert to migrate over. Now there is a caveat in that you can't convert a K3s cluster to a K8s cluster. So you're gonna go K3s to K3s, but you can start over with a K8s cluster if you want to and go ahead and move on from there. So it just depends on what you need. All right, unified Helm chart for simplified deployment. So there's a single source which removes the need for multiple Helm charts. Previously, there was a Helm chart per distribution. So that could get a little bit messy if you're trying to deploy K3s and K8s and other stuff, right? So the distributions can be customized, so you can use the same Helm chart for more than one distribution, like I just said. So that way, basically, you can use the same configuration, and then you just change which distribution that you want to use depending on what you need to set up. So the K8s distro now supports SQLLite and external databases. So do you want to use something other than etcd to back K8s? Well, now you can. SQLLite, great if you want to keep things lightweight, and there's other external databases like MySQL and Postgres. So these are great for users who may have other backing stores such as AWS RDS or Azure Database. Just giving you more options to use different backends that you want. Like maybe you don't need everything the etcd gives you, and you can just use SQLLite to keep everything super lightweight. Or maybe you need to use these other databases that are available now. So super easy to configure. We got a video on that, and then we also have documentation on it. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one. The default distro has changed from K3s to vanilla K8s. So the default distro for vCluster control plane is now K8s. Previously, it was K3s. However, we wanted to offer more flexibility and something less opinionated. So with K8s, you can use different data stores like we talked about, and then there's just other things that you can do that are not opinionated, and it's just vanilla distribution of Kubernetes. And now the default image is the vCluster Pro image. So there's multiple benefits with this update. So there's a more secure base image. If you're moving from OSS to Pro, it's easier to update from the vCluster YAML because all you have to do is enable those Pro flags. And then Pro features are inactive by default. So the experience is the same as using the previous OSS image. It just makes it easier to migrate if you need to, and then it puts everything in the same place so that you're not changing your vCluster YAML if you make that update to Pro. Ingress syncing behavior has changed. So you're having issues with Ingress? We made it easier. So now you can sync Ingress and Ingress classes separately. Previously, they were trying to do both at the same time, and there may be permission issues that you run into. Well, now you can fine tune which one you're syncing, and then you can set those up separately. But basically, all this is doing is it's syncing Ingress classes from the host cluster to the virtual cluster, and then you're syncing Ingress from the virtual cluster to the host cluster within your virtual cluster, mostly for applications and stuff like that. So next steps. So please give it a try. Give us some feedback, right? Let us know how you like it. Let us know if you're running into any issues. Let us know if you're using it in an interesting way, but give it a try. Here's the docs for getting started, and then try out vCluster Platform. So vCluster Platform is going to give you a UI, and if you sign up, you'll get a 14-day free trial to see what the platform option is all about. And it's going to give you the basically ultimate, so you can see everything. You can set stuff up. You can set up a POC. You can set up self-service. You can let your users jump in and create virtual clusters and see how that works for you. And then join us on Slack, slack.loft.sh. Like I said, join us there. If you have questions, let us know. Ask in the vCluster channel or reach out to me if you want. I'm Mike Peterson. And then what you can do is also watch some of our vCluster tips videos. So we've been making videos about this version of vCluster for the last couple of months while it was in beta, just to kind of get a head start on how to get things configured. And like I'll say, the vCluster YAML, super easy compared to using the values file. So I hope you give it a try. I hope you let us know how you like it. And make sure you like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let us know what you need to see next for like guides, or if you're running into issues and you want to see video content about that. All right. Thank you so much for watching this video. Bye.